Grace through faith. I talked to a cat the other day, and he was like, man, I really want to come to Christ, but I got to clean my life up first, get my sins together. I told him, I used to think that way too. I thought I had to change myself before I could come to Christ, but Christ changed me. Let me tell you my story, it starts like this. It's 5:46 in the morning, tossing and turning, chest burning, sermons in my head keep reoccurring, having visions in my head of a kid.
Welcome to the wretched son of Adam. This is called Come As You Are, my testimony. I was 7 years old when the Lord was first introduced to me. I went to a church all by myself, a little Sunday school during the summer, and I was given a Bible, but nobody else in my family was really into the Lord at that time, so I didn't know how to read it, and just like the seed that fell in shallow soil, I was excited to hear the word, and then the devil took it away. Satan snatched it, and off it went. Between that time, my mom became a drug addict. So she couldn't afford to have me, so she sent me to my cousins. And they were church-going folks too, so they used to always take me to church, but I was thrown right into Satan's mist because my cousin's wife sat there and used to beat me every day. If her kids did something wrong, she used to beat me. So you know what I prayed for when I went to church every day. Please, Lord, deliver me from this evil that I am in. And I would come home from church after praying and just get my butt kicked again. We ain't talking about with a belt. We ain't talking about like kids nowadays that get in trouble for getting yelled at. We are talking about getting hit with fists, chairs, televisions, anything possible. And I was only like 85 pounds, so I really couldn't do nothing, so I just kept taking that butt whipping every single day. Anyway, I felt like the Lord never answered my prayers because every Sunday, I would go to church. Every Sunday afternoon, I would get my butt kicked. And my cousin used to tell me, you're an evil kid. You can't take communion. Your Lord doesn't love you. The Lord hates you. So she would beat me some more. I didn't understand that. I was only about 9 years old. Couldn't understand that. So I turned my back on the Lord. I know, I'm wretched. That's why it's called the wretched son of Adam. I turned my back on the Lord, but the Lord never left me. Because one day the sun was coming down and I knew that I was gonna get my butt kicked if I went in that house. So I rode my bike, which was a little nice, it was about the 80s, so it was a little yellow Huffy, no gears, just a little yellow Huffy, and I rode that bike from San Jose to Oakland, California, and had no problems. If the Lord wasn't with me then, I don't know who was, but it was the Lord. I know that for a fact now, it was the Lord. Anyway, fast forward. Through that whole time when I turned my back on the Lord, Satan welcomed me to his house. He was like, yeah, now I got me another one. And he had a smooth tongue, so I was a womanizer. And I would have women and just women and just women and just women. That was my major sin. I learned how to deal drugs. I broke into people's houses. I was just wretched. I was dirty. And the Lord still found love in me because a lot of the times I should have been killed. I should have died. I should have went to jail or something. But I never did because the Lord had favor on me. The Lord says if you profess Him with your mouth and with your heart, He will never leave you. Even if you turn your back on Him, He will never leave you. And the Lord never left me. He stayed with me. And through that time, I had a baby. It was the first time I felt true love. I loved my family, but I loved my baby. I was willing to give my life for my baby. And I think that was about the first time that I ever decided that, hey, if it came between me and somebody else's life, I'm willing to give it. So I actually cried tears of joy for the first time when I had my son. But in between that time, I was still godless. I still had my back turned on God, and I was trying to be righteous. So I turned to Wicca. I won't, layman's terms, witchcraft. I was a pagan. I was wicked. That's all I can say. But I was a white Wiccan, which means I considered myself a good witch. I tried to do good things, and I thought that would get me into heaven on my good works. Not happening. I found that out now. But through that whole time, I still did all my dirt, and I still had my back turned on God. And then I had 2 more kids. God still was blessing me. He still loved me so much that he gave me 2 more beautiful children. And I still kept my back turned on him. And I met other people who were Christians. My older sister is a devout Christian, love her to death. I call her my guardian angel because when I just started looking for the Lord, she gave me a Bible. My little brother married his wife really young, but had love for the Lord his whole life. Him and his wife are still together, and they still have massive love, because that's, with God in your life, that's what you get. Anyway, we moved up to Reno, which this is right now. This is Reno, Nevada. This is my home now. And I sat there, and my mom died. Still didn't turn myself to Christ. I felt bad for my mom, but, you know, I didn't have no love for the Lord then. So I still turned my back on Christ. And then my wife's mom died. And that was heartbreaking. And I still didn't turn towards the Lord. It's funny because I was like, hey, you know something? I'm happy being Wiccan. I'm happy having my own God. I'm happy being a commandment breaker. I broke commandment 1. So I didn't care. I was like, hey, you know something? She probably went to a better place, whether it was heaven or whether it was hell. It had to have been better than what she was going through. Even though I picture everybody going to heaven, because deep in my heart, I still believed in God. Even though I didn't profess it with my mouth and with my heart anymore. Deep down inside my subconscious, I knew God existed from the time when I was 7. So I figured my mother-in-law and my mom, they went to heaven. Through all that time, 2 months later, my wife's father-in-law was living with us. And he went up to Washington for his summer visit as normal, and he had a massive heart attack. Now this is 2 months after my mom-in-law died. So my wife was fragile. And we went to 7-Eleven, and I was sitting outside while she went in the store, and in a clear voice, a question came to me. It said, what would you do if I told you your father-in-law died? How would you take care of your wife? And I just was like, what? And my wife comes out 2 minutes later, and she said, my dad's dead. An angel talked to me that day. That's all it could be, because it was that clear of a voice. It was given to me in a question, and I had a hard time believing it. And then I had to wrestle with this. How did I know this was happening before it happened? So I was prepared for it. And so I started seeking the Lord. My sister gave me a Bible in 2008, and I cracked it open in 2012. And I was reading it, and it was incredible to me. I was like, wow, you know, the Lord does exist, and the Lord never turned his back on me. And I decided, you know something? I'm going to learn more about Jesus. I'm going to learn more about God. So through this whole time, I started reading. Then I asked one of my other friends, what Bible should I get? Because they had a whole list of Bibles. Me not being a Christian or anything, I said, what Bible should I get? They said the King James Version. So I was like, okay, I got the King James Version. And I started reading it. and I still couldn't understand it. It says those that truly know me will understand my words. So if you don't understand the Bible, it means you don't truly know Jesus. So I started studying it, and then I broke out my sister's NIV Bible. And I call it the Bible for Dummies because it was broken down in plain English. None of the thee, thy, three this, thouest, none of that. It was he said this, he did that. Pretty simple. People say the NIV is written by the devil. But you know something? It turned me to Christ, so you really can't say that. Because I was able to read it. And then I said, you know something? How could I forget about all the stuff I learned in Wiccan and just say, hey, you know something? I'm giving it all to Christ. And then one of my friends said, I think you're making God into your image. And you're not supposed to do that. And that really hit me. So I started reading deeper, and I was like, okay, I got to start obeying these commandments that God has given us and do what is right. So I said, I'm going to find a church. I found the Second Baptist Church of Reno with Pastor Randall. Blessed, so blessed to find that church. And that's my home church. And from there, I got baptized. And after I got baptized February 14th, 2012. So after I got baptized, you know, I'm fully immersed in the Lord now. You know, I want to do what the Lord has asked me to do. Now I am a full warrior for Jesus. I'm a fisher of souls as Jesus has called me to be. That's why I make these videos. Anyway, I was reading Malachi, and I had a bright light hit me, kind of like Paul when he was going to Damascus as Saul to go persecute the Christians. A bright light hit me right in my head, and if you ever been smacked in the arm or anywhere and it stays there for a minute, you're like, dang, you hit me pretty hard, that hurt. And it stays there. That's what this light did to me. It hit me in the head. And I was like, wow. And it was the verse I was reading that says, Lord, what have we said to you that has persecuted you? And God told Malachi, in Malachi, I don't know if it was exactly Malachi, but he said in Malachi, it is futile to serve me. Which means it was worthless to serve God. And it hit my heart. That's when the Holy Spirit changed my heart, right after that verse. Because I started crying, because I realized that's how I treated God all these years. That's how I treated Yeshua all these years. Yahweh all these years. Is I sat there and I just said, why serve the Lord? What good is it to serve the Lord? He never done nothing for me. He never looked at all the blessings that he has given me along the way. And I cried. I couldn't believe I was so selfish and so wretched and so evil that I would do that to our Almighty Yahweh. And from that moment on, it's all about the Lord. The Lord doesn't care if you dress up nice on Sundays. The Lord doesn't care if you don't look the way a normal Christian looks. The Lord doesn't care if you walk with a limp or if you live in the ghetto. The Lord just wants you to come to him like he wanted me to come to him. So all I can say to all of you out there that hear this, that's my testimony.